we got to go down to Knoxville. We're talking Tennessee recruiting 101,915. That was the official attendance in Neyland Stadium to watch that Florida Gator rivalry. Obviously, Tennessee goes into overtime. They win it 23-17, and there were some important recruits on campus, Steve.
Look, survive and advance. The big game is next weekend against Alabama. Tennessee had some top targets in Knoxville for this game against Florida, but it's going to be double, triple that next week for Alabama, and winning this ball game makes it a much bigger contest, obviously, next weekend in Neyland Stadium.
Obviously, Josh Heupel, I mean, we're looking at some of the visitors that were there. Obviously, Josh Heupel wanted to get some key players in because he knew it was going to be a big game atmosphere, but we know what Tennessee's capable of when it comes to bringing in visitors. Now, they brought in a lot of their best commitments. What do you think Tennessee was trying? You think they felt, here's what I felt. Tennessee thought they were going to come in here and whoop some butt at night. So let's bring in David Sanders. Let's bring in George. Let's bring in Travis Smith. Let's bring in all of our commits, reestablish, make sure they're all locked in. And then for the big one, we'll bring in all the uncommitted guys and the flip targets. But I mean, this game had all the elements of a classic, but I don't know if it should have been this close.
Well, anything can happen in a rivalry game.
Right.
Obviously, we know that. We've been around college football a long time.
It's night tough in the SEC. Look, anything can happen.
It's tough to go on the road and win at night in any conference, certainly inside Neyland Stadium. But Florida was game. You know, they had their opportunities. Graham Mertz fumbling on the 1-yard line was crushing if you're a Gators fan. But look, Tennessee's defense made a ton of plays. They were ferocious. They got after the quarterback. They were able to keep Tennessee afloat. And then obviously the offense eventually made enough plays, and then they got it to overtime. And again, defense took over there and they get the win. And then you have guys like Zion Ely, the #1 ranked edge rusher in the 2026 class, who's inside Neyland Stadium. And him and I were trading some messages, and it's just different at Tennessee at night. He's having a fantastic time at Tennessee. Look, Lagonza Shady Hayward was one of the biggest visitors on campus.
Which is important. He was at Georgia last week.
Exactly right. He's going to be back at Alabama next week. But again, Tennessee survive and advance this game. Look, we've seen so many upsets this year. Teams losing games they shouldn't lose.
Beat Kentucky.
Anytime
it can happen
on the road at night.
On the road at night.
But Tennessee, the big recruiting weekend's next weekend against Alabama. That's going to be the recruit reaction show. There's going to be a lot of blue chippers on campus spanning several different recruiting classes. You also have Tennessee and Georgia next weekend, right? So maybe that's not the recruit.
Texas and Georgia.
Excuse me, Texas and Georgia.
Yeah, that might
weekend.
Be.
So
many.
A couple big recruiting weekends next weekend, but Tennessee's surviving this weekend, beating the Gators, and getting it to next weekend for what's going to be a massive recruiting weekend.
And I think, this is a recruit reaction show. So if you're a Florida Gator recruit, they don't win it. But I mean, the Gators, they played DJ Lagway. They were playing a lot of freshmen. And if you're not a great team, the way to sell it is, hey, you got an opportunity to come in and play right away and make a difference here. And you saw the Gators were fighting. I mean, you say whatever you want about Billy Napier and how bad this team was going to be before the season started. They're a formidable opponent. They might not be winning all these games, but they're out there competing.
No, they're playing hard for Billy Napier and this coaching staff. And Florida's definitely improved every season that Billy Napier's been at the helm, in my opinion. And you look at their losses: Miami undefeated, Tennessee just one loss. They lose on the road at night, and then Texas A&M at home. Texas A&M's ripped off 5 games in a row. That's nothing to
shake a stick at.
Exactly right. But look, it comes with the expectations at Florida, the seasons prior, maybe the way you've recruited to a certain degree. But look, we know that Florida's battling, so we'll see what happens next week. But they got a rigorous schedule coming up with teams like Ole Miss and Georgia waiting for them here in the.
Yeah, they would have loved to get this win on the road, because what's going to happen now is the schedule doesn't get any easier. And not that Tennessee at night's easy, but when you have that opportunity, the game's right there. Yeah, of course, Graham Mertz gets injured. DJ Lagway has to pick it up. DJ Lagway, he got put in a tough situation, but he made the most of it, throws a touchdown to tie the game, put it into overtime. You got to love it. Now, next week, though, who are some of the big names you're expecting? Do you have any in mind that are going to be at Tennessee?
Look, that's a loaded question. I just know that Tennessee is going to have.
Can we expect David? Do you think some of these guys?
Well, I think
will
the
be back
commits.
there?
Yeah,
David,
I think the commits, depending on their own high school schedule, certainly you're going to see those guys back on campus. You're going to see some of the elite juniors in America at Tennessee next.
But if you could mix some of these top commits in with some of your top targets, I mean, that's kind of the formula of getting guys to flip or getting guys to commit late. So we'll see what happens. But Tennessee wins it 23-17. Tennessee fans, you got to be feeling good walking out of Neyland Stadium right now. Tough game, but you pull it out 23-17. You get that SEC win. Talk to us in the comments section below. Are you guys ready for next week? And what top recruits do you want to see on the sidelines when Alabama comes to town? Let us know. Comment section below.